Yeah, I think our memory is like that. It's like everything's connected.
What secret has Diana Ross carried in her heart for decades? She was more than just a mentor or a friend to Michael Jackson. She was his protector, his guide, and at times, the only person he truly trusted. For years, Diana remained mostly silent, brushing aside rumors and public pressure. But now, at 81, she's breaking her silence with a truth that only she could tell. And once you hear it, you may never look at Michael Jackson or Diana Ross the same way again. The spark that started it all. Before the world knew Michael Jackson as the king of pop, and before Diana Ross became an icon beyond measure, there was a spark, a quiet, powerful connection that began under the lights of Motown Records. It wasn't just a meeting of talent, it was a meeting of souls. In 1969, Berry Gordy had signed a young family band from Gary, Indiana, the Jackson 5, with a lead singer whose voice stunned everyone. But it was Diana Ross, already a megastar with the Supremes, who was chosen to introduce the group to the world. In what many now see as a passing of the torch, she famously presented them on national television, proudly declaring, "These are the Jackson 5." That moment wasn't just promotional, it was personal. Michael never forgot it. For Michael, Diana Ross became something sacred. More than just a mentor, she filled a maternal role he desperately needed. Raised in a strict household and thrust into fame before adolescence, Michael clung to Diana's warmth and poise. He often stayed at her home, sought her advice, and emulated her grace. In interviews, he called her his inspiration, his second mother, and even admitted to having a childlike crush on her. Diana, in turn, saw something in Michael that others didn't. A fragile genius with a burning desire to be great, yet haunted by the weight of his gifts. Their bond was deep, but it was also complex. People speculated, the press whispered, and fans wondered. Yet through it all, Diana kept her silence, not to hide anything scandalous, but to protect something sacred. Michael's rise was meteoric, and Diana never tried to outshine him. Instead, she stood by, quietly, lovingly, letting him become the legend he was meant to be. Now, at 81, Diana Ross is finally ready to reflect. And as she speaks, the world leans in. Because when someone like Diana shares the truth about someone like Michael, it's not just gossip, it's history. A bond beyond words. Diana Ross and Michael Jackson shared a relationship that defied definition. It wasn't romantic in the traditional sense, nor was it simply a friendship. It was a connection of spirit, unspoken, unwavering, and at times almost telepathic. They didn't need to talk daily. They didn't always see each other often. But when they did, time folded in on itself. The world around them disappeared. At the height of Michael's fame in the 1980s, few people understood the pressure he was under. His every move was scrutinized. His eccentricities were exaggerated, and his humanity often overlooked. But Diana always saw him, not the superstar, but the boy who once asked to sleep on her couch because the world felt too big. She saw his pain before others noticed. She heard the tremble behind the perfectly rehearsed answers. And more than anyone else, she understood the cost of being adored. Michael, in turn, leaned on Diana for emotional safety. In an industry that can often be cruel and unforgiving, she remained a safe harbor. He would call her late at night, not to talk about music or money, but just to hear a calming voice, someone who knew the Michael behind the mask. She was never just a friend, she was his mirror, reminding him of who he was before the glitz, before the gloves, before Neverland. Their bond also extended to their art. Michael mirrored Diana's elegance, her command of the stage, her ability to make the biggest rooms feel intimate. He once admitted that watching her perform was like witnessing magic. She doesn't just sing a song, he said, she becomes it. That same philosophy became the cornerstone of his performances. And Diana, with quiet pride, watched her protégé become a pioneer in his own right. But the deeper their bond grew, the more they shielded it from the public eye. Fame had taught them both that vulnerability could be weaponized. So they said little, but felt much. They showed little, but loved deeply. And when Michael faced his darkest storms, Diana didn't issue statements or interviews. She reached out in silence, through letters, phone calls, and private visits. She showed up, always. Breaking the silence at 81. For years, Diana Ross remained gracefully quiet about her relationship with Michael Jackson. She didn't engage in the media frenzy after his death. She didn't sit down for tell-all interviews or participate in the endless documentaries. Instead, she chose dignity, silence, and perhaps, most of all, healing. But now, at 81, Diana has finally begun to speak. Not out of obligation, but because time has softened the pain, and memory now feels more like a tribute than a wound. In a rare recent interview, her voice steady yet filled with emotion, Diana opened up about the boy who had called her mother and mentor. She revealed that Michael's spirit never really left her. Not after the scandals, not after the heartbreak, and certainly not after his passing. Michael was love, she said simply. He just wanted to be accepted for who he was, and to give more than he ever received. What shook many was her candid acknowledgement of the darkness Michael lived with. He carried the world's expectations on his shoulders, she said, but he also carried scars that people never saw. She admitted there were times she wished she had done more, been there more, pulled him out of the spotlight just long enough for him to breathe. But Michael was a comet, she added. You can't catch a comet. You can only watch it light up the sky. Her revelation that Michael had named her in his will as a guardian to his children if his mother could not care for them was something she'd long kept private. It was a powerful reminder of the trust, the depth, and the legacy of their bond. It wasn't about custody, she clarified. It was about comfort. He trusted I would keep them surrounded by love, the way he always wanted to be. Breaking her silence didn't bring closure, Diana admitted, but it brought peace. Peace in knowing she could finally speak her truth, not just about the king of pop, but about the vulnerable, loving, gifted soul she knew behind the curtain. A legacy of unspoken love. Diana Ross and Michael Jackson shared a bond that defied labels. It wasn't just mentorship or friendship, and it certainly wasn't fabricated for the cameras. Their connection ran deeper, quiet, unwavering, and sacred. In her later years, as Diana reflects more openly, it's clear that their love wasn't always spoken aloud, but was profoundly felt in every glance, every gesture, every private moment that the world never saw. Michael often referred to Diana as his inspiration, crediting her with shaping his vision of artistry and elegance. He studied her performances, mimicked her grace, and soaked in her fearless command of the stage. But what the public didn't always notice was how Diana, too, leaned on Michael. In his joy, she found rejuvenation. In his pain, she felt protective. We didn't need to say much, she once said. It was always understood. We saw each other, not just the stars, but the souls. As time moved on and Michael's life spiraled deeper into controversy and isolation, Diana chose compassion over commentary. While others speculated and judged, she stayed silent, holding tightly to the person she knew before the fame consumed him. That choice was a reflection of loyalty, a rare kind of love that doesn't demand attention, just presence. Now, at 81, Diana Ross continues to perform, her voice still as commanding as ever, but with a new depth, a wisdom softened by love and loss. Her tributes to Michael, often subtle, are more powerful for their restraint. A note in a song, a pause before a name, a tear she doesn't try to hide. These are the echoes of a legacy born not just of music, but of mutual understanding. Their story reminds us that not all love needs to be explained. Some of the deepest relationships are the ones the world never fully understands. For Diana and Michael, it was never about the spotlight. It was about the quiet loyalty that endured beyond fame, beyond grief, and beyond words. What Diana Ross revealed wasn't shocking. It was something deeper. It was a glimpse into the soul of two icons who found family in one another. If this story moved you, imagine what else is hidden behind the curtain of fame. Like, comment, and don't forget to subscribe, because the next story might just change how you see another legend forever.